Hey guys, how you doing? It's Duncan here at Holy Basil Thai in Croydon, and I'm here to show you another beautiful soup, a traditional soup with a tiny Thai twist. Today we'll be making a prawn bisque, and the prawns we're using are these beautiful tiger prawns from Queensland. They're so fresh and lovely. I just want to show you how I like to peel a prawn. Firstly, what I do is support the prawn between the head and the body here. And then just using my finger with some gloves on, just to go in against the belly here and just scraping down, taking off the legs, and then simply peeling around the body. Very simple, very clean and easy. And then to devein the prawn, we just take a small knife and going in from the top of the back here, we just cut a line down the back of the prawn. And in here you'll see two different things. One of them we keep. All of these ones here is beautiful, all of the roe, all of this green, sometimes it's orange. And this thin little one inside is the one that we want to remove. So don't remove all of this, it adds a lot of beautiful flavor. Okay, then what we need to do is, in this case, I'm going to remove the head and I'm going to keep the heads separate from the prawn tail. The prawn tail, I'm going to poach these in the soup later, including that roe line down the back. And the tail will just look nice and presentable in the soup as well. So now it's just time to continue peeling these prawns. And that is it, all of those removed. Now it's really important when you're making bisque that you do buy whole prawns because you will need those shells as part of the soup. You're also going to need some butter, some tomato paste, coriander root, some fresh leek, a couple of shallots, one fresh tomato. Over here we have some Mekong whiskey. Now Mekong whiskey is my little Thai twist on this. Normally you'd use a brandy or a rum, but I like to use the Mekong. We've got some stock here, some fish stock, some pepper, finishing it off with some cream and coriander for garnish. And this one here is beurre manière. Now beurre manière is just a simple mixture of equal parts butter and plain flour, mixed together well. It's a cold roux. And then what we do is at the end, when we need to thicken it, we'll add that at the very end, but really easy to make. Okay, let's get started. Starting with just a little bit of oil, we're then going to place the butter in with the oil. Using a wooden spoon, an extremely large, pre-burnt, well-loved, industry standard wooden spoon, we're then going to add our prawn shells to the butter and oil. Cook those prawn shells until they become nice and red in color. Then we're going to add some leek, our shallot, and then again saute that until they become a little bit softened but no color. We add the tomato paste. I like to add a good 2 to 3 tablespoons of tomato paste so that we get a nice rich red color in our soup. Okay, what I've got here is from my mortar and pestle. I've got a beautiful large piece of marble. We need something heavy. We want to crush up these shells. We want to release all of the flavor that's inside those prawn heads. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is our coriander root. It's not very traditional, but this soup ends up being blended together and all of these flavors meld. And I think the coriander root is a really lovely flavor to have in this bisque. Now we're going to add our Mekong. Now we need to flambe our alcohol. So we're going to add that in first, wait for the alcohol to become hot, and once it's hot, just use a lighter and carefully ignite it. The reason for doing this is to burn off the alcohol that's in there. Once that's done, we add, no, not some more Mekong, we add some stock. So I'm going to add here a good litre of beautiful fish stock. And then we're just going to let that simmer for about 15 minutes. Now that all of that lovely colour has come out from the crustacean shell, it's time to strain it. And because I smashed it up before, all of that flavour came out from inside the head. If you like, you can actually put it into a food processor and blend it even further, but you need to put it through something very fine, like a muslin cloth. So now that all of that lovely liquid is being strained, we put it back into our pot. And then it's just time to add a few more ingredients. Firstly, some seasoning with some salt, a little bit of white pepper, and then we're going to put in some fresh tomato. Turn that back on, and then again, we'll simmer that for another 5 minutes. Tomatoes have just started to soften, and now I'm just going to add the prawns and just let those poach for about 3 minutes. Then, once they have cooked, I'm going to remove the tomato and the prawn and build those into the base of my plate, and then we can pour the soup around it. So now that the prawns have been presented with the tomatoes, it's just time to finish off the soup. We start by adding our cream, approximately 1 part cream to 3 parts soup would be a good estimate. Bring that to the boil, and then we'll just thicken it with the beurre meunier as needed. And now that the soup is a beautiful consistency, we just pour that soup around the prawns and around the tomato. If we pour it on top, everything will become the one colour. So I like to have the contrast of the centerpiece compared to the actual soup itself. And then just simply garnish that with a few coriander leaves. You could use parsley or chervil or dill. They would all be perfect. There we go, a really simple dish. A beautiful prawn bisque using Queensland tiger prawns with a tiny, tiny touch of Thailand using that Mekong whiskey and the coriander root as well. A beautiful soup of French tradition with a Thai twist. Enjoy.